You know, life has a way of breaking you before it builds you. Pain comes to everyone, not as a punishment, but as a process. Yet most people waste it. They cry, complain, and curse their pain, never realizing that what hurts you is often what's trying to shape you. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your personal instructor. It's that silent mentor that teaches you lessons joy could never explain. And the sad truth is, many people go through pain, but never grow through it. They experience heartbreak, failure, rejection, and loss, yet come out bitter instead of better. But let me tell you something powerful today. Don't let your pain be in vain. The reason you're still standing after what broke you is because the pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. When gold is put through the fire, it's not because it's weak. It's because it's valuable. The fire removes what doesn't belong so that what remains is pure, strong, and shining. Your pain is that fire. Don't run from it. Let it refine you. Listen carefully. The greatest people you've ever admired didn't get there by luck. They got there by surviving their pain. Champions are not made on the stage. They are forged in private through tears, sleepless nights, and silent battles no one sees. They didn't quit when life got dark. They decided to make that darkness their classroom. You see, pain gives birth to purpose. What you're going through right now is not random. It's necessary. The struggle, the delay, the betrayal, the loneliness, all of it is sculpting your future self. You're being equipped for something bigger than your suffering. But here's the truth. Pain only transforms you if you allow it to. If you let your pain make you angry, you'll live bitter. But if you let your pain make you wiser, you'll live better. Pain is like rain. It can make flowers grow or cause floods to destroy. What it does depends on what kind of ground it falls on. Every disappointment carries a message. Every heartbreak hides a direction. Every failure holds a seed of wisdom. When you start asking, what is this pain trying to teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That's when your transformation begins. Don't let temporary suffering make you abandon your permanent purpose. Sometimes life removes people and things you thought you needed just to reveal what you really have inside you. Every broken piece of your past is a building block for your destiny. I want you to remember this. Pain is not evidence that you're weak. It's evidence that you're alive. And the fact that you're still here means your story isn't over. Maybe life crushed your heart. Maybe people betrayed you. Maybe dreams collapsed. But the fire that's inside you is still burning, waiting to turn that pain into power. Your pain can either define you or refine you. It can either be the reason you stop or the reason you start again stronger. Your choice determines your destiny, because purpose is often hidden in pain. The very thing that wounded you may be the same thing that will one day bless others. You might not see it now, but someday you'll look back and realize that your pain was the best teacher you ever had. So don't curse your pain. Don't waste your tears. Don't run from your fire. Embrace it, learn from it, and rise from it. Remember this, the scars you carry are not symbols of defeat. They are proofs of survival. Each scar says, I made it. So hold your head high. Your pain has a purpose, and that purpose will one day speak louder than your suffering ever did. Don't let your pain be in vain. Use it. Turn it into wisdom. Turn it into compassion. Turn it into motivation. Because in the end, it's not what hurt you that matters. It's what you became through it. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation for your next level. When you're in pain, it's easy to think life is being unfair. It's easy to think that you did something wrong, that you're being punished for dreaming too big, loving too deeply, or trusting too much. But the truth is, pain is not here to destroy you. It's here to shape you. It's the hammer in the hand of destiny, molding you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of carrying what's coming next. Every person who ever rose to greatness had to pass through seasons of struggle. Not one of them escaped pain. They simply decided to use it instead of run from it. When you go through pain, your perspective changes. Suddenly, the things that used to matter start to fade, and you begin to see what's truly valuable. Pain is the great refiner. It burns away what's unnecessary so that only your real strength remains. Think about how gold is purified. It doesn't shine until it's put through fire. And the fire doesn't burn the gold. It burns the impurities. That's what your pain is doing right now. It's burning away your fear, your doubt, your weakness, your dependence on others. It's revealing the purest version of you. The reason most people stay stuck is because they misinterpret their pain. When life gets hard, They think it's a punishment, so they quit. They give up, never realizing that the pain they ran from was the very process meant to prepare them for greatness. Look around in life. Every great athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every resilient human being you admire, they've all walked through pain. A runner doesn't grow stronger sitting on the couch. They grow stronger when their muscles ache, when their lungs burn, when their body screams for rest. But their spirit says, keep going. That's how life trains you too. Pain stretches your capacity. It pushes you to discover what you're truly made of. Sometimes it isolates you not to punish you, but to prepare you. You lose friends, not because you're unworthy, but because the next version of you can't travel with everyone. Pain is God's way of separating you from what's holding you back, of pruning you so you can produce more fruit later. And that pruning hurts. It feels like loss, but it's actually growth disguised as grief. There are people who go through heartbreak and never recover, and there are those who use heartbreak to build empires, to write books, to inspire millions. What makes the difference? One person sees pain as punishment, the other sees it as preparation. The same storm that destroys one house strengthens the foundation of another, depending on what it's built on. If you build your mindset on self-pity, pain will bury you. If you build it on purpose, pain will build you. Every disappointment you face is a disguised invitation to evolve. Maybe you didn't get that job. Maybe that relationship fell apart. Maybe your plans collapsed. It's not the universe saying you're unworthy. It's the universe saying you're not ready yet. You're being developed, not denied. Every delay is a form of protection. Every setback is a setup for something greater. The pain you're feeling today is proof that something inside you is growing, expanding, reaching for a higher level. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it must be buried in the dark. It breaks apart underground where no one can see it. It looks dead, but it's not. That breaking is its preparation. The pressure of the soil is necessary for the seed to push upward toward the light. Your pain is that pressure. Your struggles are that soil. You are being planted, not buried. The breaking is not your ending, it's your beginning. Every tear you cry waters the ground for your next season. Every sleepless night, every silent battle, every unanswered prayer is preparing the version of you that can handle what's coming next. You think you're being punished, but you're being promoted through preparation. The pain is showing you what you need to change, what you need to release, and what you need to strengthen. Look at your own life. Remember the moments you thought you wouldn't survive. You did. And you came out stronger, more mature, more aware. That wasn't punishment. That was training. Just like a trainer in a gym adds more weight to help you build muscle. Life adds more challenges to build your character. When the weight feels unbearable, it's because your next level requires new strength. You see, comfort never builds champions. Ease never creates excellence. If everything was simple, you'd never grow. Pain is the pressure that produces greatness. A diamond is just a piece of coal that went through extreme pressure. So when life presses you, when it feels like everything is collapsing, remember, you are in the making. The pressure means you're valuable. Sometimes pain strips you of your comfort so you can finally step into your calling. It shakes your routine so you can wake up to your potential. You might not like the process, but when you look back, you'll realize that the moments that broke you were the same moments that built your foundation. Pain is a strange blessing. It disguises itself as loss but delivers you to purpose. So when life hurts, don't curse the pain. Study it. Let it teach you. Ask yourself, what is this trying to prepare me for? Maybe the heartbreak is preparing you for empathy. Maybe the rejection is teaching you resilience. Maybe the failure is developing your faith in yourself. Every painful chapter adds a page to your wisdom, and wisdom is what sustains success. Pain is never random. It's a tailor-made process designed to remove what's unnecessary and strengthen what's essential. When you start seeing pain as preparation, you'll stop fearing it. You'll begin to embrace the lessons hidden within it. And as you do, you'll notice that what once broke you now builds you. What once hurt you now helps you. And what once felt like punishment now feels like preparation for something far greater than you could have imagined. Those who grow through pain become wiser than those who only go through it. Pain comes to everyone, but wisdom comes only to those who choose to learn from it. The truth is, life doesn't reward the person who merely suffers. It rewards the one who studies their suffering, who asks, what is this pain trying to teach me? You see, Two people can face the same heartbreak, the same betrayal, the same loss, yet come out completely different. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. One walks away with wounds, the other walks away with wisdom. The difference lies in what they did with their pain. Pain is a strange teacher. It never comes with a friendly face. It shows up uninvited, knocks everything out of order, and demands your attention. But within that chaos lies a message that can only be understood by those who are willing to look deeper. Think about it. When everything in your life is going smoothly, you rarely stop to reflect. You rarely question your habits or priorities. It's only when pain hits that you start asking what matters most. What do I need to change? What am I really doing with my life? Pain forces reflection, and reflection births wisdom. Growing through pain means you don't just feel it. You use it. It means instead of running from the discomfort, you sit with it and listen. You ask yourself, what is this moment shaping in me? When you lose someone you love, the pain might teach you the value of time. When you fail at something important, the pain might teach you the importance of discipline. When you're betrayed, the pain might teach you the value of discernment. Every painful experience carries a hidden seed of wisdom that's only unlocked through awareness. Look at everyday life. Imagine two people lose their jobs. One spends weeks complaining, blaming the company, the system, the world. The other feels the same pain, but instead of wasting it, they analyze it. They ask themselves what they can improve, what new skill they can develop, what direction they can grow in. A year later, one person is stuck in the same bitterness, while the other has started a new business, learned new things, and discovered strength they never knew they had. Both felt pain, but only one grew through it. Pain exposes who we truly are. When everything is easy, we can wear masks, pretend to be in control, act as if we've got life figured out. But when pain arrives, masks fall off. Your patience is tested. Your character is revealed. Your values are challenged. And that's where wisdom is born. Because pain teaches you about yourself. It shows you your breaking points, your hidden fears, your inner resilience. People who grow through pain come out more grounded, more understanding, more compassionate, because they've seen what struggle feels like firsthand. You can tell when someone has grown through pain. They speak differently. They love differently. They move through life with quiet strength instead of loud pride. They don't judge quickly because they remember how it felt to be misunderstood. They don't quit easily because they remember how many nights they survived when giving up seemed easier. Their wisdom isn't learned from books. It's carved into their soul through experience. Think about how a muscle grows. When you lift weights, you're literally tearing tiny fibers in your muscles. It hurts, it burns, but as they heal, they grow stronger. That's how pain works. It tears something inside you, but if you give it time, if you heal properly, you grow stronger in character, patience, and understanding. Those who only go through pain without reflecting, without learning, keep repeating the same mistakes. They stay trapped in the same emotional cycles because they never stop to ask what the pain was trying to reveal. There's a saying that pain either becomes your prison or your professor. It can lock you inside bitterness, or it can teach you how to live wiser. When you grow through pain, you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become a student of them. Every setback becomes a classroom, every disappointment a lesson plan. You start seeing that nothing in life is wasted. Not even the tears, not even the failures. When you choose to grow through pain, you develop empathy. You begin to understand other people's struggles because you've walked through your own. That's why the wisest people are often the ones who've been hurt the most. They've seen life from the ground up. They don't take peace for granted because they know what chaos feels like. They don't take love lightly because they know what loneliness costs. Pain teaches gratitude in ways comfort never can. Look at how pain refines people. Someone who's been through financial struggle often values hard work and saving more. Someone who's faced rejection often learns humility and patience. Someone who's dealt with failure often develops creativity and persistence. Pain, when processed properly, becomes the foundation of maturity. People who grow through pain become guides for others because their wounds have turned into wisdom that lights the way for those still hurting. In daily life, it's easy to spot who grew through their pain and who only went through it. The person who grew will smile, not because everything is perfect, but because they've learned peace is a choice. They'll forgive, not because the pain didn't matter, but because they refuse to carry it any longer. They'll move forward with clarity, not because life became easy, but because they learned how to find meaning even in difficulty. Pain doesn't automatically make you wise. Reflection does. Growth is a decision. Wisdom is the reward of that decision. Those who grow through pain become students of life, always asking, always learning, always transforming. They understand that storms don't come to destroy but to cleanse. That fire doesn't come to burn but to purify. That heartbreak doesn't come to end you but to expand you. They understand that pain is temporary, but the wisdom it brings can last a lifetime. So when pain visits your life, don't just endure it, engage with it. Study it, understand it, let it mold you into someone deeper, someone kinder, someone more grounded. Because those who grow through pain don't just survive, they evolve. They turn their suffering into strength, their lessons into leadership, and their wounds into wisdom that the world desperately needs. Your pain reveals your potential. The fire only touches gold that is valuable. Life has a mysterious way of showing us who we really are, and often that revelation doesn't come through comfort or success. It comes through pain, through pressure, through those silent battles that no one sees, but that transform you from the inside out. When you are going through the fire, it's not because life has turned against you, it's because life is trying to show you what you're made of. Only valuable things are tested. Only things with purpose are refined. When gold is put in the fire, it's not because it's worthless, it's because it's precious. And that's what your pain is trying to tell you. You're worth more than you think. People who haven't faced challenges often don't realize their strength. They live on the surface, comfortable, predictable, safe. But the ones who have been through storms, through nights of tears, through losses that broke their hearts, they know what it means to fight for peace, to build faith in darkness, to discover courage when everything inside them wants to quit. Pain reveals the hidden layers of your potential that ease could never reach. When life gets difficult, it's not an announcement of your weakness. It's a reminder of your capacity. Think about gold for a moment. When it's pulled from the earth, it's rough, dirty, unrefined. It doesn't shine, it doesn't sparkle. And to the untrained eye, it doesn't even look valuable. But the miner knows its worth. So what does he do? He puts it through fire. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it. It burns away the impurities, the dirt, the things that keep it from shining. And when the process is over, the gold that comes out is brighter, stronger, and more beautiful than ever before. That's you in your seasons of pain. Life is the fire. Your struggles are the heat. And the purpose of that heat is to refine you, to reveal your value, to burn away everything that doesn't belong to your future. Every time you've been betrayed, every time you've been rejected, every time you've cried yourself to sleep, the fire was working. It wasn't punishing you, it was preparing you. You were being shaped into someone capable of carrying greatness. That heartbreak wasn't random, that loss wasn't meaningless. It was life's way of separating the real from the fake, the temporary from the eternal. Fire always exposes what's genuine. When you go through pain, your potential begins to show because you learn things about yourself that no success could have ever taught you. Look at the people who have achieved greatness. None of them reached that level by avoiding pain. Every inventor, every leader, every creator you admire has a story of fire. Times when they wanted to quit, moments when everything seemed lost, but they kept going because they realized that pain was revealing their potential. When a diamond is formed, it's formed under pressure. When gold is refined, it's refined under heat. When a seed grows into a tree, it breaks through the ground. In every story of transformation, there is a struggle. Pain is proof that you are becoming something greater. In daily life, you see it everywhere. The athlete who wakes up before dawn, running until their body screams for rest. That pain is revealing their potential. The student who fails an exam but decides to study harder, refusing to give up. That pain is revealing their potential. The mother who works multiple jobs to provide for her family, pushing through exhaustion. That pain is revealing her strength, her endurance, her love. Pain is not there to weaken you. It's there to uncover the power that already exists inside you. So when you find yourself in the fire, don't curse it. Recognize it. Say to yourself, this heat means I'm valuable. This challenge means I'm chosen for something higher. The fire doesn't visit worthless things. It visits gold. And the fact that life is testing you so deeply means there's something inside you that's worth refining. You see, People who have never been through pain often collapse under pressure because they've never learned how to handle it. But those who've been through the fire before, they stand taller, calmer, wiser. They've been burned, but they've also been polished. They don't panic in storms because they've learned that storms don't last forever, but the lessons do. That's the beauty of pain. It teaches endurance. It teaches you how to stand when everything in you wants to fall. It shows you that strength isn't about what you can control. It's about what you can survive. And the fire, as painful as it feels, has a purpose. When you go through betrayal, you learn discernment. When you go through loss, you learn appreciation. When you go through struggle, you learn strategy. When you go through pain, you gain perspective. Every scar is a story, and every story carries wisdom. Pain becomes the mirror that reflects your true potential. It shows you that you can endure more than you ever imagined, that you can rebuild from ruins, that you can rise even when everything around you falls apart. Life doesn't test you to break you. It tests you to expose you. When pressure is applied, pretenders are revealed, but so are the powerful. When the fire comes, the fake melts away, and the real gold stands firm. That's why sometimes when life feels hardest, it's not because you're cursed. It's because you're close to being revealed. You're being transformed from ordinary to extraordinary, from unseen to unstoppable. The most beautiful souls you'll ever meet are the ones who've walked through the fire and didn't let it consume them. They shine differently. They carry peace that can't be shaken, wisdom that can't be taught in classrooms, and compassion that can't be faked. Their pain became their polishing. Their fire became their foundation. When you look at them, you don't see what they lost. You see what they gained. So when you feel the flames, when you feel the pressure, remember that only gold is placed in the fire. And the hotter the fire, the purer the gold becomes. You are not being destroyed, you are being refined. The pain is revealing your worth. The pressure is awakening your strength. And the fire is unlocking your potential that's been waiting all along. Champions are not built in comfort, they are forged in struggle. Nothing great has ever been born out of ease. Every person you've ever admired, every hero you've ever respected, every success story that ever moved your heart was written in the language of struggle. Comfort creates complacency, and complacency kills potential. It's in the long, lonely nights, the sleepless hours, the tears no one sees, that greatness begins to take shape. Struggle is not your enemy, it's your sculptor. It chisels away your weakness, your fear, your excuses, until all that's left is strength, character, and resilience. People love to talk about success, but they avoid talking about the process. They see the medals, but not the mornings when the champion could barely move. They see the victory speeches, but not the failures that almost broke them. No champion ever rose without pain, without discipline, without sacrifice. When you are comfortable, you stay the same. When you struggle, you grow. When you face pressure, you evolve. Diamonds are made under pressure. Steel is strengthened by fire, and the human spirit is perfected through pain. Look around you in daily life. The person who's always chasing comfort never discovers their true capacity. They give up when it hurts. They stop when it's hard. But the one who chooses to endure, who decides to stay in the fight even when it's uncomfortable, that's the one who becomes a champion. A student who studies late into the night while everyone else is asleep, pushing through exhaustion, that's struggle forging a champion. The athlete who keeps training even when no one is watching, sweating, aching, doubting, but refusing to quit, that's struggle forging a champion. The single parent who works 2 jobs, holding the family together with nothing but faith and grit, that's struggle forging a champion. Comfort never created warriors. It only creates watchers, people who sit and wait, hoping success will fall into their lap. But struggle builds soldiers. Struggle teaches you that nothing comes easy, that every victory demands effort, and that true growth only happens when you dare to move beyond the borders of your comfort zone. If everything in your life is easy, you're not growing, you're just existing. Think about how the strongest trees are formed. They grow in the wind. Their roots dig deep because the storm forces them to. If the wind never blew, the tree would never develop the strength to stand tall. That's how life works. If you never face resistance, you never learn resilience. If you never fall, you never learn to rise. Every struggle you face is not there to stop you, it's there to strengthen you. You don't become disciplined when everything is easy. You become disciplined when everything in you wants to quit, but you don't. You don't develop patience when life is perfect. You develop patience when nothing seems to work, but you keep trying anyway. The gym doesn't make your muscles grow because you lift light weights that feel good. It's when you lift heavy, when you push past the pain, that growth happens. Struggle works the same way. It adds weight to your soul, and when you lift it with courage, you build inner strength. Most people pray for easy lives, but the truth is, an easy life produces weak people. If you remove all difficulty, you remove all development. Champions understand that struggle is sacred. They know the road will be hard, but they also know that every challenge is a chance to sharpen their spirit. That's why the greatest never run from pain. They use it. They know that the world rewards those who can endure what others escape. When you're struggling, it's easy to believe something is wrong. But in reality, something is happening. You're being shaped, trained, molded into a version of yourself that comfort could never create. Struggle builds endurance. It teaches humility. It forces you to face your fears and prove to yourself that you can survive without everything going your way. Imagine the boxer training before the big fight. He wakes up before sunrise, runs miles while his body aches, punches until his hands bleed, trains until his muscles shake. Why does he do it? Because he knows the pain of training is the price of victory. He knows comfort won't make him a champion. Struggle will. That's life. Every time you push through what hurts, you are preparing yourself for the moment that matters. Champions are not people who never struggle. They are people who struggle and still show up. They keep moving when motivation disappears. They keep believing when doubt whispers that it's over. They understand that greatness isn't a gift, it's a grind. You don't stumble into success, you suffer your way into it. Every scar has a story, every wound has wisdom, and every setback hides strength. There's a kind of beauty in the struggle that only those who've lived it understand. When you've cried until your eyes burn, when you've failed and tried again, when you've lost everything and kept walking, something inside you changes. You begin to respect the fight. You stop craving comfort because you've tasted the growth that comes from discomfort. You realize that pain isn't punishment. It's proof that you're evolving. The truth is, the struggle you're in right now is necessary. The pressure you feel is necessary. The obstacles you face are necessary. Because without them, you'd never rise to your full potential. Comfort will protect your weakness, but struggle will reveal your power. Comfort will keep you average, but struggle will make you exceptional. Life doesn't give crowns to those who sit. It gives them to those who stand, fight, fall, and rise again. The world remembers those who refuse to quit in their struggle. They're the ones who learn that pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. They're the ones who discovered that every mountain is climbable if you keep taking steps. They're the ones who realize that the real battle isn't against the world. It's against the voice inside that says, this is too hard. But every time you silence that voice, every time you rise when it hurts, you're being forged in the fire that creates champions. Champions are not built in comfort. They are forged in struggle. Nothing great has ever been born out of ease. Every person you've ever admired, every hero you've ever respected, every success story that ever moved your heart was written in the language of struggle. Comfort creates complacency, and complacency kills potential. It's in the long, lonely nights, the sleepless hours, the tears no one sees, that greatness begins to take shape. Struggle is not your enemy, it's your sculptor. It chisels away your weakness, your fear, your excuses, until all that's left is strength, character, and resilience. People love to talk about success, but they avoid talking about the process. They see the medals, but not the mornings when the champion could barely move. They see the victory speeches, but not the failures that almost broke them. No champion ever rose without pain, without discipline, without sacrifice. When you are comfortable, you stay the same. When you struggle, you grow. When you face pressure, you evolve. Diamonds are made under pressure. Steel is strengthened by fire, and the human spirit is perfected through pain. Look around you in daily life. The person who's always chasing comfort never discovers their true capacity. They give up when it hurts. They stop when it's hard. But the one who chooses to endure, who decides to stay in the fight even when it's uncomfortable, that's the one who becomes a champion. A student who studies late into the night while everyone else is asleep, pushing through exhaustion. That's struggle forging a champion. The athlete who keeps training even when no one is watching. Sweating, aching, doubting, but refusing to quit. That's struggle forging a champion. The single parent who works 2 jobs, holding the family together with nothing but faith and grit. That struggle forging a champion. Comfort never created warriors. It only creates watchers. People who sit and wait, hoping success will fall into their lap. But struggle builds soldiers. Struggle teaches you that nothing comes easy, that every victory demands effort, and that true growth only happens when you dare to move beyond the borders of your comfort zone. If everything in your life is easy, you're not growing, you're just existing. Think about how the strongest trees are formed. They grow in the wind. Their roots dig deep because the storm forces them to. If the wind never blew, the tree would never develop the strength to stand tall. That's how life works. If you never face resistance, you never learn resilience. If you never fall, you never learn to rise. Every struggle you face is not there to stop you. It's there to strengthen you. You don't become disciplined when everything is easy. You become disciplined when everything in you wants to quit, but you don't. You don't develop patience when life is perfect. You develop patience when nothing seems to work, but you keep trying anyway. The gym doesn't make your muscles grow because you lift light weights that feel good. It's when you lift heavy, when you push past the pain, that growth happens. Struggle works the same way. It adds weight to your soul. And when you lift it with courage, you build inner strength. Most people pray for easy lives, but the truth is, an easy life produces weak people. If you remove all difficulty, you remove all development. Champions understand that struggle is sacred. They know the road will be hard, but they also know that every challenge is a chance to sharpen their spirit. That's why the greatest never run from pain. They use it. They know that the world rewards those who can endure what others escape. When you're struggling, it's easy to believe something is wrong. But in reality, something is happening. You're being shaped, trained, molded into a version of yourself that comfort could never create. Struggle builds endurance. It teaches humility. It forces you to face your fears and prove to yourself that you can survive without everything going your way. Imagine the boxer training before the big fight. He wakes up before sunrise, runs miles while his body aches, punches until his hands bleed, trains until his muscles shake. Why does he do it? Because he knows the pain of training is the price of victory. He knows comfort won't make him a champion. Struggle will. That's life. Every time you push through what hurts, you are preparing yourself for the moment that matters. Champions are not people who never struggle. They are people who struggle and still show up. They keep moving when motivation disappears. They keep believing when doubt whispers that it's over. They understand that greatness isn't a gift, it's a grind. You don't stumble into success, you suffer your way into it. Every scar has a story, every wound has wisdom, and every setback hides strength. There's a kind of beauty in the struggle that only those who've lived it understand. When you've cried until your eyes burn, when you've failed and tried again, when you've lost everything and kept walking, something inside you changes. You begin to respect the fight. You stop craving comfort because you've tasted the growth that comes from discomfort. You realize that pain isn't punishment, it's proof that you're evolving. The truth is, the struggle you're in right now is necessary. The pressure you feel is necessary. The obstacles you face are necessary. Because without them, you'd never rise to your full potential. Comfort will protect your weakness, but struggle will reveal your power. Comfort will keep you average, but struggle will make you exceptional. Life doesn't give crowns to those who sit. It gives them to those who stand, fight, fall, and rise again. The world remembers those who refuse to quit in their struggle. They're the ones who learn that pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. They're the ones who discover that every mountain is climbable if you keep taking steps. They're the ones who realize that the real battle isn't against the world. It's against the voice inside that says, this is too hard. But every time you silence that voice, every time you rise when it hurts, you're being forged in the fire that creates champions. Every failure carries a hidden lesson waiting to be discovered. Sometimes life doesn't whisper this truth softly. It screams it through disappointment, heartbreak, and defeat. You fail, and the world seems to laugh at you. People walk away, your plans fall apart, and your confidence feels like it's melting into the ground. But in that very moment, there lies a message, quiet but powerful, waiting for you to hear it. Failure is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you who you really are, what you're made of, and where you still need to grow. Most people run from failure because they only see the pain. But those who rise, the ones who change their destiny, are the ones who stay, reflect, and extract the lesson hidden within the fall. Think about it. Every great success story you've ever heard began with someone's painful failure. When Thomas Edison was asked how he felt about failing 1,000 times before creating the light bulb, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times, I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work." That's not just brilliance, it's perspective. It's understanding that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every mistake is a clue, every loss is a direction, every breakdown is a map pointing toward your breakthrough. In daily life, we all face moments that crush us. You study hard for an exam and still fail. You give your all in a relationship and still end up alone. You work day and night on your dream and nothing seems to move. At that moment, you question everything, your purpose, your ability, your worth. But what if you realize that those very moments are shaping you? What if your failure is not a punishment but preparation? Maybe you didn't lose the job. You were being redirected towards something bigger. Maybe that relationship ended because life was removing a distraction from your destiny. Every no, every closed door is not rejection, it's redirection. Failure teaches you what comfort never can. Comfort hides your potential, but failure exposes it. When you fail, you start asking questions. You dig deeper, you learn patience, humility, resilience. The fire of failure burns away your arrogance and excuses until all that remains is the pure steel of your determination. That's why the most powerful people on this planet are not the ones who never failed. They're the ones who refused to quit when they did. Failure introduces you to the version of yourself you didn't know existed. The one who can rise again, think differently, and move forward stronger than before. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a young man starting a business. He invests his savings, works tirelessly, and still it collapses within months. His friends pity him. Some even mock him. For weeks, he feels defeated. But then, one day, he sits down and studies what went wrong. He realizes he didn't understand his customers, didn't manage his time, didn't market properly. He starts again, this time wiser, more focused, more humble. Within a few years, he builds a company 10 times stronger. The first failure was never in vain. It was his training ground. Life's failures are not walls. They're doors disguised as challenges. If you push hard enough, you'll find out they open. Sometimes you need to fall to see the cracks in your foundation. Because once you know where the weakness lies, you can rebuild with wisdom. Failure exposes the blind spots that success hides. It forces you to learn, to adapt, to grow. That's why pain often comes before progress. It's the seed of transformation buried deep within struggle. When you fail, don't say, "Why me?" Say, "What is this trying to teach me?" Every situation has something to offer. Maybe it's patience, maybe it's strength. Maybe it's the reminder that you can start over and still win. Because the truth is, the universe doesn't waste pain. Every tear, every sleepless night, every disappointment, it's all shaping you for something greater. There's a lesson coded into your struggle, a wisdom you'll need for the next chapter. If you skip it, you'll meet the same test again in a different form. Remember, failure isn't fatal unless you let it be final. What separates the great from the average is not luck, it's interpretation. One person sees failure as the end, another sees it as education. The same storm that destroys one house strengthens another, depending on its foundation. So when you fall, don't stare at the dust. Look for the diamond hidden in it. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They're proof that you fought for something. Every failure carries a message so deep that only those who stay long enough to listen will hear it. And when you finally understand it, when you look back at your darkest moments, you'll realize they were not obstacles. They were lessons dressed as pain. Because every failure you face is just success in disguise, waiting for you to grow enough to recognize it. Your pain becomes meaningful when you allow it to teach, not torture you. Pain is not your enemy, it's your instructor. It doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to shape you, to refine you, to awaken something powerful inside you that comfort never could. But most people run from pain. They bury it, they numb it, they curse it. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the lesson it came to bring. The truth is, life doesn't teach through ease. It teaches through experience. When everything is smooth, you celebrate. But when life shakes you, that's when you evolve. Pain carries wisdom. And if you listen carefully, it speaks louder than success ever will. Think about it. Every lesson you truly remember, the ones that changed how you think and how you live, didn't come from your victories. They came from the moments that broke you, the moments that humbled you, the moments when you felt completely lost and yet somehow still moved forward. The pain of being rejected taught you the value of self-worth. The pain of being betrayed taught you discernment. The pain of failing taught you perseverance. And the pain of losing someone taught you to appreciate what truly matters. Every form of pain is a message disguised as discomfort. The key is to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Imagine a man who loses everything. His business fails, his relationships crumble, his confidence collapses. At first he's angry. He blames the world, he blames others, he blames fate. But one day when the noise settles, he sits in silence and realizes that the pain wasn't there to destroy him, it was there to redirect him. It was there to remind him of the strength he forgot he had, the vision he abandoned, the purpose he neglected. In that moment, his pain becomes his professor, not his prison. Pain is the language of growth. When you go to the gym, it's the resistance that builds the muscle. When you go through heartbreak, it's the emotional resistance that strengthens your heart. Every time you endure something you thought would break you, you come out wiser, sharper, stronger. But only if you choose to learn. The same fire that melts wax can harden clay. It depends on what you're made of. If you see your pain as punishment, it will crush you. If you see it as preparation, it will craft you. In daily life, you'll see this truth everywhere. A student fails his exams and feels worthless. But that failure teaches him focus and discipline. A single mother struggles to make ends meet. And that very struggle teaches her resilience, creativity, and strength she didn't know she had. A man loses his job and feels like life has ended, but through that pain, he discovers his true passion and builds something far greater than he ever imagined. Pain is not random. It's intentional. It's life's way of refining your vision, correcting your direction, and building your endurance. Sometimes the lessons pain teaches are quiet. It teaches patience when you're forced to wait. It teaches humility when you can't have what you want. It teaches gratitude when you lose what you took for granted. Pain teaches you how to listen to your inner voice when the world is silent. It strips away your illusions, exposes your fears, and leaves you face to face with your truth. And that's where transformation begins. Many people spend their entire lives running from their pain, never realizing that every time they avoid it, they avoid their growth. When you numb your pain, you numb your potential. When you silence it, you silence your evolution. Pain is not there to make you bitter, it's there to make you better. You can't rise if you don't first face what broke you. Every scar on your body or your heart is a story of survival, a testimony that you were strong enough to endure what tried to end you. There's a reason why the most compassionate people are often those who've been hurt the most. They learn through pain what empathy means. They understand what it feels like to break, so they help others heal. Their kindness was not taught. It was carved into them by experience. Pain taught them how to love deeper, forgive quicker, and appreciate more. Their smiles are not shallow. They're forged from storms. You can't control the pain life brings, but you can control the meaning you give it. When you choose to see your pain as a lesson, you take back your power. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, what can I learn from this? That's the moment you turn pain into purpose. Pain is a sculptor. It removes what doesn't belong. It breaks your pride, strips your ego, and reveals the masterpiece underneath. Every painful season you go through is a classroom. Some lessons are about endurance, some about letting go, some about faith, some about focus. But they all serve one purpose: to evolve you into the person you were meant to become. Life doesn't waste pain, it recycles it into wisdom. The question is, will you let it teach you or torture you? Because the pain that you ignore will return until it teaches you what you refuse to learn. Once you start seeing your pain as a guide instead of an enemy, you begin to find meaning even in your darkest moments. That's when your pain transforms from a burden into a blessing, from a wound into wisdom, from suffering into strength. Bitterness wastes pain, growth redeems it. Pain, when not understood, turns into poison. It eats you slowly, silently from the inside. It makes you resentful, angry, closed off from the world. You stop trusting people, you stop believing in goodness, and you build invisible walls to protect yourself. But those walls don't protect you, they imprison you. Bitterness convinces you that the world owes you something, that life is unfair, that your suffering is someone else's fault. And while you're busy holding grudges, life moves on without you. Bitterness doesn't heal wounds. It keeps them bleeding. It doesn't give closure. It keeps you stuck in yesterday. The longer you hold on to bitterness, the more it robs you of the strength that pain came to give you. But growth, on the other hand, is what transforms that same pain into power. Growth doesn't deny the hurt. It uses it as fuel. Growth says, yes, it broke me, but it also built me. Bitterness keeps replaying the moment you were hurt, but growth focuses on what you learned from it. Bitterness says, I'll never trust again, but growth says, I'll trust wiser next time. Bitterness chains you to the past, but growth opens the door to the future. You can't stop pain from coming, but you can decide whether it will make you bitter or better. Think of two people who go through the same heartbreak. One becomes cold, distant, angry at love. They promise themselves they'll never open up again, and in doing so, they also shut out joy, connection, and peace. The other person, though hurt, decides to heal. They take time to reflect, to understand, to forgive, not because the other person deserves forgiveness, but because they deserve freedom. Over time, that person glows differently. Their pain becomes wisdom. They start recognizing red flags earlier. They communicate better. They love deeper. And most importantly, they don't let one chapter define their entire story. Same pain, different outcomes. Bitterness wasted it. Growth redeemed it. In everyday life, we see this pattern all the time. A man loses his job unfairly and spends years blaming his boss, his company, even the system. Every time he talks about it, his anger grows. Opportunities pass by because he's too busy dwelling on the injustice of the past. Bitterness makes him blind to new possibilities. Then there's another man, fired from the same company under the same circumstances, who takes it differently. He feels the sting, yes, but instead of letting it poison him, he lets it push him. He studies new skills, builds something of his own, and years later, he looks back not with anger but with gratitude. He realizes that what felt like an ending was actually an invitation to evolve. Bitterness is heavy. It drains your spirit and dims your light. When you hold on to it, you're carrying the weight of something that's already gone. It's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Growth, however, is liberating. It allows you to breathe again. It teaches you that not everyone will apologize, not every wound will be justified, and not every situation will make sense. But you can still rise. You don't grow by getting even, you grow by moving forward. When you choose growth, you're not saying the pain didn't hurt. You're saying it won't control me anymore. There's power in letting go, not because the past disappears, but because its grip weakens. Bitterness says, I'll never be the same. Growth says, I'll be stronger than before. Bitterness closes the door. Growth walks through it. Look at nature. It's a living symbol of growth after pain. When a forest burns, the ashes feed new soil. When a storm rips through the land, it clears space for new life. Pain always leaves behind the ingredients for transformation. The same is true for you. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every failure contains a seed of wisdom. But it's your decision whether you water that seed or let it rot in bitterness. Some people let one moment of pain define their entire identity. They keep reliving that wound, talking about it, nursing it, refusing to release it. They become prisoners of their own past. But others decide, this won't be the end of me. This will be the lesson that changes me. And that shift right there is where redemption happens. That's where your pain begins to serve a purpose. That's where your suffering starts producing strength. When life hurts you, it's giving you two roads to choose from. One leads to resentment, the other to renewal. One drains you, the other develops you. The choice isn't easy, but it's necessary. Every time you forgive, you grow. Every time you release anger, you rise. Every time you reflect instead of react, you reclaim your peace. Bitterness says they don't deserve forgiveness, but growth whispers, you deserve freedom. And that's the truth most people miss. Letting go isn't about them, it's about you. Think of pain as a form of currency. You can spend it on resentment and end up bankrupt in peace, or you can invest it in growth and receive wisdom, strength, and perspective. Every painful experience is a transaction waiting to happen. The question is, will you waste it or will you redeem it? Because bitterness keeps you in the past, but growth builds your future. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. When you decide to grow, you don't just survive what hurt you. You rise above it, you own it. You transform it into something that serves your destiny. Pain often exposes purpose. Your greatest wound can birth your greatest work. Sometimes the things that hurt you the most are the very things that awaken the reason you were born. Pain has a strange way of stripping away the noise, the distractions, the illusions of comfort, until all that's left is truth. And in that truth, you often find purpose. People don't usually find their calling in moments of ease. They find it in the fire, in the heartbreak, in the storm that tested their strength. Pain forces you to stop pretending. It makes you ask questions you once avoided. It reveals what truly matters and what doesn't. And it is in those quiet, broken moments that you begin to see what you were meant to do. Think about it. Most of the world's greatest achievements came from someone's deepest pain. The person who was once bullied becomes the one who teaches others about confidence. The child who grew up in poverty becomes the entrepreneur who builds opportunities for others. The one who lost someone to illness becomes the doctor who saves lives. Pain, when transformed, becomes purpose. It's like a seed buried deep in the soil of suffering. It doesn't look like much, but if you nurture it, it grows into something powerful, something beautiful, something meaningful. Every wound carries wisdom. Every heartbreak carries revelation. Every failure carries a whisper from life saying, this is not the end. This is the beginning of something new. Pain doesn't just show you where you've been hurt. It shows you where you're called to heal. Your wound is the map to your mission. If you pay attention, you'll realize that the very thing that broke you is the thing you now feel drawn to help others overcome. That's not coincidence, that's calling. Take a simple example. Imagine a woman who loses her job unexpectedly. She feels devastated, lost, and full of fear. For months, she questions everything: her value, her future, her purpose. But during that time, she starts helping others write resumes, prepare for interviews, and find new jobs. She does it out of empathy because she knows what that pain feels like. Over time, that simple act turns into a business, and that business turns into a movement helping thousands of people. She didn't plan it. She found her purpose in the ashes of her pain. There's another man who grows up in a broken home. He witnesses chaos, fights, and confusion every single day. For years, he carries that pain quietly. But instead of letting it define him, he turns it into determination. He studies relationships, psychology, communication. He dedicates his life to helping others build strong families. His wound became his wisdom, and his pain became his platform. What once broke him now fuels him. Pain doesn't just expose purpose, it awakens empathy. You can't truly understand someone's struggle until you've walked through your own. Pain gives you eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart that feels. It makes you sensitive to the suffering of others, and that sensitivity often becomes the foundation of your mission. People who have never faced real pain can sympathize, but those who've lived through it can heal. They speak from the scar, not the wound. They carry a different kind of strength, the kind that comes from surviving what others thought would destroy them. Every time you experience pain, there are two voices that speak inside you. One says, "Why me?" The other says, "What for?" The first voice keeps you trapped in victimhood, but the second opens the door to vision. When you start asking, "What for?" you begin to see purpose hidden in your suffering. Maybe that heartbreak taught you compassion. Maybe that failure taught you perseverance. Maybe that betrayal taught you discernment. Pain always teaches. It's up to you to learn. Life has a way of turning pain into power when you let it. The broken artist paints his pain and gives hope to millions. The wounded writer writes their story and helps others find healing. The one who once felt voiceless becomes the speaker who gives others courage. Purpose doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the parts of your soul that were once shattered. Pain breaks you open so your light can finally shine through the cracks. And sometimes, purpose isn't revealed all at once. It unfolds slowly like a sunrise after a long night. You might not understand why you're hurting right now. But later, when you've healed, you'll look back and realize that every tear had meaning. That struggle taught you strength. That loss taught you gratitude. That silence taught you to listen. Pain was never there to punish you. It was there to prepare you. In the quiet moments when no one is watching, pain has the power to whisper truth into your heart. It tells you you were made for more. It reminds you that your story isn't over just because you're hurting. The world doesn't need your perfection, it needs your authenticity. And nothing makes you more authentic than the pain you've survived. People don't connect with your success, they connect with your scars, because scars tell stories of survival. Every wound is an invitation to create something new. Your heartbreak can birth art. Your loss can birth compassion. Your failure can birth innovation. Pain shakes you, molds you, and then introduces you to the version of yourself you were always meant to become. It burns away your illusions, your fears, your dependence on approval, until all that's left is truth. And in that truth, purpose is born. Your pain is not meaningless. It's the raw material for your mission. The fire that hurt you is the same fire that forges your strength. When life breaks you, it's not the end, it's the unveiling. Because sometimes your greatest wound doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to reveal the very thing you were born to do. Scars are proof of strength, not symbols of shame. Every scar on your body, every scar in your heart, every scar in your soul tells a story. A story that you survived something that tried to destroy you. Scars are not signs of weakness, they're signs that you endured, that you faced pain head on and walked out stronger than before. Yet, in this world, people are taught to hide their scars, to cover up their pain, to pretend they were never wounded. But what they don't realize is that scars are not ugly. They are evidence of healing. They are the fingerprints of resilience, reminders that you didn't give up when you had every reason to. A scar doesn't say, I was hurt. It says, I healed. It says, oh, went through the storm and made it to the other side. It says, I fell, but I got back up. People who carry scars carry wisdom that can't be found in comfort. They know the taste of tears, the silence of disappointment, the ache of being broken. And that knowledge gives them depth, compassion, and power. The people who have never faced pain often live on the surface, but those who have scars, they live with substance. Because pain taught them what peace means, and struggle taught them what strength really feels like. Think of a soldier who returns from battle with scars across his body. To an outsider, those marks might look like damage, but to him, they're medals of honor. Each one tells a story of courage, of survival, of sacrifice. Life is no different. Your scars are your medals. Maybe you have emotional scars from betrayal, physical scars from illness, mental scars from years of doubt. But all of them mean you're still here. They mean you didn't surrender to the fire. You walked through it and came out with proof of victory. In everyday life, we see this truth unfold quietly. A woman who once battled depression wears a smile today, not because life is perfect, but because she fought her way out of darkness. That smile is her scar. It's invisible, but it's powerful. A man who once lost everything and rebuilt his life from nothing carries emotional scars too. He no longer sees them as reminders of failure. He sees them as proof that he's unbreakable. When people ask how he managed to stand again, he simply says, because my scars taught me that pain is temporary, but purpose is permanent. Scars are not something to hide. They are something to honor. They show that healing took place, that growth occurred, that lessons were learned. Every scar whispers, you made it. Sometimes scars remind you of the battles you fought alone, the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you forced yourself to keep going even when no one believed in you. Those scars are your silent trophies. You don't need to explain them. You just need to remember that they exist because you refuse to quit. People often try to erase their past as if erasing the pain will make them whole again. But your past is not your prison. It's your proof. Your scars give you identity. They give you authenticity. People connect more with your scars than with your perfection because scars are human. They tell others, I've been where you are and I made it out. When you embrace your scars, you give others permission to embrace theirs. When you show your healed wounds, you remind people that healing is possible for them too. Imagine a piece of broken pottery that's been repaired with gold. The Japanese call this kintsugi, the art of making broken things beautiful. Instead of hiding the cracks, they highlight them with gold, turning what was once broken into something even more valuable. That's what your scars do. They don't ruin you, they redefine you. They make you unique. They make you whole in a way perfection never could. The cracks you carry are where your light gets out. Look at nature, it reflects this truth too. After a forest fire, the ground looks dead, but from those ashes, new life begins to grow. After a storm, the trees may bend, but they stand taller and stronger. Scars are nature's way of saying, I've been hurt, but I'm still alive. So why hide yours? Your scars are not weaknesses. They're strength in visible form. They're reminders that life can wound you deeply and still not destroy you. When people see your scars, they don't see failure. They see endurance. They see someone who refused to give up. When you talk about your pain openly, it doesn't make you vulnerable, it makes you powerful. Because only those who have healed can speak about hurt without breaking. Your scars speak louder than your words. They tell others that pain can end, that healing is real, that resilience is possible. Sometimes your scars will remind you of a chapter you never wanted to live again. But instead of letting them reopen your wounds, let them remind you how far you've come. Every time you doubt yourself, look at your scars and remember the battles you've already won. The same strength that carried you through before still lives in you now. Scars don't make you less. They make you more. They make you wiser, tougher, more aware of who you are and what you can survive. You are not broken because you have scars. You are beautiful because you healed. The world tells you to cover your pain, but greatness tells you to embrace it. Because every scar you carry is proof that you have walked through pain and chosen progress. They're not marks of shame, they're marks of survival. And survival, in its truest form, is strength wrapped in silence, power wrapped in humility, courage wrapped in scars. Pain is a teacher most people try to avoid, but it is the one that teaches you the deepest lessons. When life throws you into the fire, you have two choices: let it burn you or let it forge you. Never let your pain define your life. Let it refine your life. Every scar you carry is not a symbol of weakness, but a reminder that you survived something that once tried to destroy you. Too many people let their wounds become their identity. They start believing they are the pain itself instead of the person who went through it. They wake up every morning replaying the same hurt, feeding the same memories, and then wonder why they can't move forward. But pain was never meant to be your home. It was meant to be your classroom. It's there to shape you, not to trap you. Think about gold. Before it shines, it is covered in impurities. The goldsmith doesn't throw it away because it looks ugly. Instead, he puts it through the fire. The heat reveals the beauty that was hidden inside. Your pain works the same way. When you go through hardship, when people betray you, when dreams collapse, and when everything seems lost, that fire is not destroying you. It's refining you. It's removing the parts of you that no longer serve you. It's teaching you patience, humility, endurance, and faith. And one day, when you come out of that fire, you won't even recognize yourself. You'll realize that the pain you once cursed was the very thing that made you unbreakable. Many people allow a single painful moment to define their entire story. They say, "Oh, was hurt, so I can't trust again. I failed once, so I'll never try again." But the truth is, pain is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. Think of a seed. Before it grows, it has to be buried in darkness. It has to break open before life can come out of it. Your pain is that darkness, that breaking moment. It may feel like you're buried, but in reality, you're being planted. You're being prepared for a season of growth you can't even imagine yet. Remember, every great person you admire has been through seasons of pain. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and came out not bitter, but better. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he created and later returned to build one of the most successful brands in history. Myles Munroe lost everything several times, yet he kept rising because he knew that pain is temporary, but purpose is eternal. These people understood one truth: pain refines character. It teaches you to appreciate what comfort hides. When life hurts, most people ask, "Why me?" But the question you should ask is, what is this trying to teach me? Because within every painful experience lies a hidden treasure. Maybe that heartbreak was teaching you self-respect. Maybe that failure was preparing you for discipline. Maybe that rejection was redirecting you toward your real path. When you stop running from pain and start learning from it, your entire life changes. Suddenly, the same storm that was meant to drown you becomes the wind that pushes your ship toward destiny. Imagine a person training in the gym. When they lift weights, they are literally tearing their muscles. That pain is not pleasant, but it's necessary. Without that stress, there is no growth. Life is the same. Every disappointment, every failure, every betrayal is a form of resistance training for your soul. It's making you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. So when pain comes, don't resist it. Respect it. Feel it, but don't let it control you. Cry if you must, but when you're done crying, get up stronger. The world respects those who rise after being broken. It's easy to smile when life is kind, but true greatness is revealed when you can smile through the storm. Pain doesn't mean God has abandoned you. Sometimes it means He's preparing you. When gold is being refined, the goldsmith never leaves it unattended. He watches it closely until he sees his reflection in it. That's what your Creator is doing. Your pain is the fire that allows his reflection to appear in your life. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when the weight of life feels unbearable. In those moments, remind yourself, this pain is not permanent. It's shaping me. It's building me. It's teaching me how to stand tall when the world expects me to fall. Every tear you've shed, every night you've stayed awake wondering why, is not wasted. It's watering the soil of your destiny. When the harvest comes, you'll understand why you had to go through what you did. So never let your pain define your life. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you better. Don't let it shrink your dreams. Let it strengthen your resolve. You are not your scars. You are the warrior who survived them. Pain doesn't destroy you unless you allow it to. It refines your soul. It polishes your strength. It awakens your purpose. And one day, you will look back and realize that what you thought was breaking you was actually building the person you were always meant to be. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the pain they feared was the very thing that gave birth to their power. It's in the silence after the storm that you begin to see the purpose behind the chaos. You start to understand that every scar carries a story of survival. Every wound holds wisdom. And every heartbreak was a step toward becoming who you were destined to be. Pain was never your punishment. It was your preparation. It was life's way of reminding you that you are capable of much more than you ever imagined. And when you finally stand tall, after being knocked down again and again, that's when you truly meet the strongest version of yourself. Remember, diamonds are made under pressure. A sword is only sharp because it's been through the fire. The most beautiful flowers bloom after the heaviest rain. So when life pushes you to your knees, don't curse the pain. Thank it. Because it's in that breaking that your rebuilding begins. Your strength is not measured by how much you can avoid pain, but by how much you can endure and still move forward with grace. The universe doesn't test the weak, it refines the chosen. And if you are being tested, it's because you are being trusted with something great. There will be moments when it feels like you can't breathe, when the weight of your burdens feels too heavy to carry. But that's when you must whisper to yourself, I've come too far to only come this far. Because within you lies a fire that no storm can extinguish. Within you lies a resilience that even life itself bows to. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not stay down. You are not the victim of your story. You are the hero in the making. And heroes are not born in comfort. They are created in the fire of adversity. Every legend you know was once a broken soul that refused to give up. Nelson Mandela once said, do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. That's the essence of greatness. It's not perfection. It's perseverance. It's having every reason to quit but choosing not to. It's standing tall when your legs shake. It's smiling through tears. It's believing in light when all you see is darkness. Greatness is built on pain, refined by struggle, and crowned by endurance. When life hits you, don't hit back with anger. Hit back with growth. Prove to your pain that it cannot control your destiny. Let your struggle become your strength. And let your wounds become your wisdom. Because one day someone will look at your journey and say, if they made it, so can I. Your pain will become someone else's hope. Your survival will become someone else's guide. That's how you turn suffering into service. That's how you transform pain into power. There's a quote that says, the comeback is always stronger than the setback. And it's true. Life may slow you down, but it cannot stop you. Every time you rise from the ashes, you come back wiser, tougher, and more determined. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every heartbreak becomes a teacher. And every setback becomes a setup for your greatest comeback. When people doubt you, let their doubt become your fuel. When they walk away, let their absence create your independence. When they say you can't, let your actions scream that you can and you will. Pain will whisper in your ear, you can't take it anymore. But your soul must answer, watch me. Because deep down, you know that the same fire that tried to destroy you is the same fire that will make you unstoppable. You are not built to quit. You are built to rise, to conquer, to evolve. One day you will look back and realize that the pain that once made you cry became the reason you learned to fly. Don't wait for the storm to pass. Learn to dance in the rain. Don't wait for life to be easy. Learn to be stronger. Remember, every sunrise begins in darkness. And if today feels heavy, it's because you're carrying the weight of a brighter tomorrow. One day, the pieces will make sense. One day, you'll understand why you had to lose what you lost to become who you are meant to be. Your story is not over yet. You are still becoming, still growing, still rising. So keep walking even when the path is unclear. Keep believing even when faith feels small. Keep fighting even when no one claps for you. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that your pain did not win. You are stronger than your past, wiser than your mistakes, and greater than your fears. Muhammad Ali once said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's the mindset you need. Suffer now so that your future self can thank you. Endure now so that your legacy can be born. And when you reach that place of victory, don't forget the nights you cried, the battles you fought, the mountains you climbed. Because those moments are what made your victory worth it. Your pain was not sent to destroy you, it was sent to reveal you. It's polishing your purpose, awakening your spirit, and calling you toward greatness. You were never meant to live an easy life. You were meant to live an extraordinary one. And extraordinary lives are not built on comfort. They are built on courage, persistence, and fire. So rise. Rise for every time you were told you couldn't. Rise for every tear you cried in silence. Rise for every night you thought it was over. Rise, because your story is not over until you win. You were not born to give up. You were born to overcome. And when the world asks how you survived the storm, you'll simply smile and say, I didn't survive it. I became it.